Hello, hello. Thank you everybody for being here today. Today we're lucky enough to get a chat with Sarah McKnight, author of both The Reaper's Quota and Chasing the Reaper. We did something a little bit different this month and we gave you guys a twofer. It's two novellas, we put them together. And just first and foremost, I I love all the different interpretations of death, and I love the bureaucracy behind it. I know it goes into this hyper realism at times, but part of it just makes it feel more realistic and more digestible. It feels like because we're all gonna have to deal with grief at some point in our lives, and it feels like stories like this that kind of humanize death in that light really make it a nicer experience for lack of a better word. And it was a cool, really cool story to get lost in. So hats off to you.
Thank you.
So we wanted to feature Reaper's Quota for a long,
Oh
long
yeah, that's
time. It
true.
was one of the earliest books, I think, that I checked out when we started looking for books to put in our box, but it just wasn't the right size, of course. But I remember messaging you about it a long time ago, uh, just saying that we'd really loved it. So getting to put two together, that was a little bit something a bit new, but it was really cool to do. I've never seen us do that before, so something we can keep in mind for the future. And I was thinking about what I wanted to start with today, so I thought I'd just say, Sarah McKnight, what happens when you die?
Well,
Something easy to get
obviously,
the conversation going.
obviously, a Grim Reaper is assigned to come and help you get over. Um, I honestly don't know how this idea came to me. I mean, so I say it was a fever dream
Mhm.
because this is my first National Novel Writing Month project that I ever
Oh
did
yeah.
back in 2017. And I had another book planned. And I'm not really a planner, but I had this like alien story all ready to go that I still need to write eventually. And then, like 3 days before November 1st, I woke up in what can only be described as like a cold sweat from a
Mm.
fever dream or something. And I just had this one thought in my head, and it was, what if Grim Reapers worked in a corporate environment? And I just sat down on November 1st and just kind of went with it. And that's how the
Mhm.
story came to be.
Yeah, NaNoWriMo, right? That was
Yeah.
I think 2017 was back when it was still cool before all the controversy
Ye-
and
Yeah,
everything.
I don't participate officially anymore.
Which is, it's a shame it all went down that route because we've had a lot of YPQ books that were initially inspired through NaNoWriMo. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my books were written during NaNoWriMo, and I mean, I still like, I'm not this year because I had a baby, but I still do like the 50,000 word challenge in November. It's kind of hard to have given that up this year. I feel like the itch, but I don't have the time to write like I used to, unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe the shorter projects are easier now as well, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and just, try and do a little bit of writing every week and see what I can get done.
Mhm. So since we don't know what happens after you die, when I started reading The Reaper's Quota, the first one, uh, I was struck by a number of things. I really liked it, and on every level, the writing was good, the characters were great. It was a really engaging story. But what stuck with me was the balance that it held between almost being comedic, like a workplace comedy, and then also
Yes.
being pretty bleak and pretty horrifying at times because it deals with the death. I'm sure I said this to you in a message or something, Sarah, but there's a moment in the first book where I think a child falls off a swing and is hurt badly enough that they pass away, which is
Yep.
horrible. How was it balancing those two tones and atmospheres between the two stories? Also, there's the baby noises coming in at the right time.
Yep, you might need a little attention. Come here, buddy.
That's okay.
Oh, he can join the interview. There he is.
Hello, wee man.
This is Samson.
Oh, Samson, that's a
Hi,
great name.
Samson.
Oh, is he smile? Feel like I'm looking at the future now.
Yeah, yeah. This could
See,
be
this is you. This is you next week.
any day now.
Any day now. So yeah, how was it balancing the bleaker aspects of writing about death with the more comedic tones of it? How did you balance those yourself?
It was hard because it got
Hmm.
really heavy.
Yeah.
And I didn't, I'm a total pantser. I really don't plan out things when I write them. I just kind of let them come as I go. But I knew for a book about death, it can't all just be comedic. There
Mhm.
has to be a little bit of grief involved as well. So I let those scenes come, and I kind of had to sit with them for a while when I was writing them because they're very emotional. And so once that was done, it was a nice break to get back to a little bit of sarcasm before diving back into another
Hmm.
intensely emotional scene.
It's one of those things where, say, I'm watching a series or something like Supernatural sprang to mind when I was watching it,
Mm.
when I was reading this the first time. You're a Supernatural fan, Sarah?
I I stopped watching when it started with all the angels and the heaven and all of
Oh
that.
yeah,
It
yeah.
just,
That's the correct way to watch Supernatural, so that's fine.
I loved it when it was just urban legends and, ghosts
Yeah,
and all the fun stuff.
Monster of the Week type thing.
Yes, yes.
And my favorite episodes of those kind of like weekly installment kind of horror shows, horror comedy kind of things, is usually the one where, they go to the afterlife or they die or, uh, you get a little peek behind the curtains of what goes on in this world's
Yes.
spiritual side, I guess. And I felt like this book was all of that. Opens with Steve dying, and then it's all behind the curtain from then. But if you're a pantser, if you're usually making it up as you go, how did that play into the big kind of? I guess we'll get a little bit into spoilers, into the kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
conspiracy and
Go.
everything with the, like the hierarchy of the Reapers and the bureaucracy. Did that all? Was that already there, or did that spawn as you went through it?
No, it totally came as I went. I knew that I needed some kind of system. Like all I had was like corporate environment.
Hmm.
And like having worked in those environments before on like the lowest rung of the ladder, which is where Steve is, I kind of knew how he felt. And the conspiracies, it took a while to come. I was actually just talking to someone yesterday and was explaining like about halfway through the book, I tend to start to panic because I have no idea how it's going to end or where it's going. But somehow, by some divine intervention, it clicks. And so generally, I just have to wait for that moment to fall into place. And I can't tell you where it comes from or how it comes to be. I'm just really, really glad that it does.
Yeah, I
Fair.
think the kids call it letting it cook. But
Yes.
it happens to me all the time. Like I'm writing something just now, and you'll usually, I'll make a couple of notes, I'll start writing it, leave it for a week or so, and I'll be driving to work or something, and it'll pop into my head. I'm like, oh, I need to do that. That's what it should be. It should be this thing. And then it's a good thing that I've not written it at that point because I'd have to go back and change it if I
Yeah.
did.
I
So
Yeah,
think,
is
my
there a
friend calls
lot
it
in there?
marinating.
Marinating,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
or
funny.
percolating. I
Mhm.
like letting it percolate for a little bit.
Yes.
Uh,
Um, I was just gonna ask,
have you
as
going?
as a pantser, did you find that because there's a lot of lore behind the Grim Reaper, did you find yourself doing any research to write it, or no, just going straight into the corporate environment?
Yeah, I just went straight into the corporate environment. I stuck with my own interpretation because I mean everybody has their own
Mm.
interpretation of what a Reaper is.
Yeah,
Some people say there's only one Grim Reaper, but I liked the idea of having thousands of lackeys being
yeah,
sent out to complete assignments.
that was nice.
So I also had to ask, right? I'd written this down maybe like, so I looked up my old notes from a reading of the first one way back in the day before I read the second one. Uh, and one of the first things I'd written was, firstly, and I'm usually pretty good at this, I was going to guess Sarah McKnight, probably a Terry Pratchett fan, or at least familiar. No?
I've actually never read a Terry Pratchett book.
You
I
should.
know. No, I know. And
Every
actually,
episode.
my husband is a Terry Pratchett fan, and he has some of his Discworld series books. So they're on my to be read pile, but reading is also slow going these days.
I know the feeling,
Fair.
believe me.
Yeah.
And the second thing was I'd written down, ask Sarah if you get the chance if she's worked in some huge bureaucracy because it's too real to be just inspired.
I have worked, so I used to work for an online retailer that sold like dance costumes, recital costumes, and dance classwear. So I worked in their customer service department. So I was
Mhm.
constantly on the phones and like resolving issues and getting yelled at by angry customers. So I definitely know how it feels to be on that bottom rung.
On the front lines, man.
Yes.
Yeah. I think
In the
I think one of
trenches,
the things
yeah.
that that stands out in all of this, and we go back to the idea of using comedy and whatnot. I find that comedy is such a good tool to talk about the hard things, to talk about the like philosophical, but also like death is not a fun thing to talk about. And you mix in
Yeah.
the comedy, you mix in the little escapes from reality in between, and I think it makes it a much more digestible subject. Because like you guys were saying, there were harrowing scenes in both books, but like particularly the first one in Reaper's Quota, where like yeah, like girls on the swings. But then there's a balance there that I find makes it takes the intensity away just enough where you can actually dive into what that all means and what that all looks like. I will say though, like Steve has just not had it going his way. Like he finally meets the girl and everything and chasing the Reaper, and then it all goes south.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's obviously if you've made it 15 minutes into the interview, go back and read the book because I want to talk about spoilers.
Yeah, let's get
Spoilers.
the spoilers.
But like the ending of Chasing the Reaper, it's this whole like retaking it to the most like to the furthest extent humanly possible. It's like the most reclaiming something for yourself in an incredibly dark way. But I don't even know if I have a question about it. It was just one of those things where I read it, I was like, oh my Lord, like but like I get it though. Like there's this idea of he doesn't want to become a Reaper again because he doesn't want to subject himself to that. And then you get into
Mhm.
predetermined destiny and everything. It was really cool to kind of peel back the layers of it all in a digestible way.
And I'll tell you a secret, I never intended to write a second book or a third book.
No.
That was
Okay.
supposed to be a standalone. And I published it just to get my toe in the water to see how self-publishing worked and if it was for me, which spoiler alert, it was. Um, but I was surprised that so many people were picking it up and so many people were saying, I need more, I need more, I need more.
Yeah.
And when somebody says that to me, of course, the ideas start flowing. So I did have to sit down and think about how to expand this world and figure out what is the next step for Steve, because I wanted to leave it open ended initially and let people
Mhm.
come to their own conclusions about what happened to him at the end of the book. But I loved writing Chasing the Reaper and Secrets of the Reapers. I actually had something else planned for that one, but my husband read Chasing the Reaper and he hated the ending so much that I changed all of my plans. And I'm glad he hated it, and I'm glad he told me he hated it because I am very, very happy with how this trilogy turned out.
Wait, what
Yeah,
was what was the original Chasing the Reaper ending? I must know.
I gotta know. Yeah.
Oh no, no, not the original Chasing the Reaper ending, but how Secrets of the Reapers was gonna go. I had another plan
Oh,
in mind for that.
okay, I see. That's
That's pretty
no, and
good.
I think he
There
did
should be
it.
like a trivia segment at the end
Right?
of like a trilogy where it's like, here's what was going to happen until my husband hated it.
Yep. Yes, see,
But
I dedicated the third book to my husband, who hated the ending of book two so much that I changed all my plans.
I think it also like to your point of like self-publishing, I think these three stories in novella form rather than full novels really worked for them.
Yeah.
I found that it's more digestible and everything as well, but to your point, just like it's easier to pick up, it's a little bit less intimidating. And you said everything you wanted to say. I assume I
Mhm.
apologize. I haven't read the third one yet. I'm a little behind on my reading.
That's
Um,
okay.
I
but
keep
in
sending him books is the problem.
I know
Put it in
constantly.
the box.
But there's this element where I think different genres work for different size books. Like I think I was talking to Isel, an author we've featured in the past,
Oh, Silk
and
Murphy. Yeah.
yeah, and she was saying novellas or even short stories for horror are fantastic because you can just get
Mm.
straight to the point, hit the nail on the head, and then leave the reader just in a state of limbo, a state of stasis that they need to process
Yes.
everything. Um, how long in between like the Reaper's quota did it take you to get Chasing the Reaper out since initially it was going to be a one-off?
Yeah, so I wrote The Reaper's Quota in 2017, and I didn't really know what to do with it after that. It sat on my hard drive for several years, and then it was 2021 when I think I finally joined Twitter in like late 2020 and started connecting with all these authors. And so later in 2021, I started thinking I should give this a shot. I had tried querying a few agents with some of my other work. I just didn't think the Reaper's Quota was going to get picked up, especially because of its length, and I did not want to add more to it for the sake of bulking it up.
Mhm.
Um, so I decided to give it a shot. Late 2021 is when I published it. I think actually it's about to have its book birthday, 4 years. I think November
November time.
13th, if I remember
Oh,
correctly.
nice.
Um, and then it was pretty shortly after that that I started getting the reviews like, tell me more.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I think I started writing Chasing the Reaper in early 2022. And if I remember correctly, it came out that summer.
That's
Um,
a good question to ask because I always forget when my books came out.
Yeah.
And then I'll see, like I'll go into Amazon, it'll be like, yeah, yeah, this was published in like 2019. I'm like, oh my God, what? That was so long ago. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
so
That's wild.
I've been sorry, this is a little bit off topic, but I've been meaning to ask this question ever since I read Chasing the Reaper. And it is like you have a lot of range as an author.
Yeah.
How do you go about balancing all of this? Because forgive me, which one was your debut? Was Reaper's Quota your debut, and then you kind
Yeah.
of broke into everything else, or
Yeah, so I published Reaper's Quota first, and then I did Life Support, which is kind of a contemporary young adult, like very Breakfast Club kind of
Mhm.
vibe. Um, I just write what I enjoy. I like reading a range of genres, and so why wouldn't I also want to write a range of genres, you know?
Yeah, makes total sense.
Yeah.
Doris Sampson keeps blinking in and out of existence and it's making me laugh.
Yeah.
It's just it
Hey,
blurs him, then it
buddy.
doesn't blur him. So,
It's
something I
okay.
wanted to ask about then, because it's obviously at the heart and the core of what we do is about self-published authors, indie authors, people who've went their own way and done their own thing. And it
Yes.
obviously sounds like it was a big step for you yourself. So I wanted to just ask how your self-publishing journey has been, how you found it, how it's went for you, what you found the community to be like.
It has been incredible. The people that I have met and connected with, and I mostly just stick to Twitter because I don't
Mhm.
have the bandwidth for a bunch of other platforms.
Mhm. Mate, same. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone has been so supportive, even if like they're not reading my books, they're encouraging and I
Mhm.
like to post updates. I wrote this many words today, and
Mhm.
it's nice that, I think it helps people who are also struggling like me to find time to write, see that, it can be done. So yeah, I've had a great experience with self-publishing. I feel like I mean, marketing is not my strong suit, not by a long shot.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
same.
but I can do things my own way. I like not having a bunch of other input for like cover design or anything like that. Like it's just what I
Mhm.
want, and I have the creative freedom to do it how I want to do it.
Well, and I was gonna say, like, your cover artist was on it. I remember when we messaged you about this, within like 3 days, you had a new cover ready to go for us.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the beauties of self-publishing is that like obviously there's a team involved, but there's no red tape. Like, oh,
Yeah.
there's edits in my book I need to fix. I can just go and fix them. or I want to
Hmm.
switch this, I can switch this, or like I want to market it however which way I want to. I want to change the cover art. I want to name it something absurd. You can do that. And I think
And I just want to shout out to Ruth Anna Evans, who did the cover.
mm,
She's amazing. She does all of my covers.
nice. Even
Where
the other
whereabouts can
series.
The
whereabouts
original
can we find her?
she is on Facebook now. She was on Twitter, but she moved away from that. So her website is ruthannaevans.com. And then you can find her, Ruth Anna Evans, on Facebook. And she also does pre-made covers.
Oh, nice.
But she
Nice.
did not do the original Reaper covers.
Yeah,
Little bit of lore for the Reaper's quota. When I was writing it, back in 2017, I was living in Japan. I was an English teacher out there,
that's
and
cool.
one of my friends was involved in a cultural club, and they were putting together a CD of. I know this sounds like it's totally off topic, but I
No, you're
promise it
good.
connects.
Oh, please.
They they were putting together a CD of Japanese like folk songs in English. And I also am a singer. I've had vocal lessons for like a decade. So she asked me to record one of the songs, and in return, she designed that cover for me for the Reaper's Quota.
That's cool. What was the
Yeah.
song?
It was Hacho Tambo. It's about dragonflies.
I've
It's cute. I
not
have the
heard that
CD,
one.
but I've still never listened to it because I can't stand listening to my own voice.
Oh no,
That's
no, yeah,
I
no, I
think
get
so
you.
many of us are like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool though. It's interesting to see how cover art adapts and changes and evolves over time. Like we've worked with authors in the past, like what's his name?
You thinking of Jennings?
Eric Kruger is the one I think of just
Oh yeah.
because he had one cover artist for the first three books, but then that cover artist couldn't do the fourth book, but he had such a unique style that the new cover artist couldn't just replicate the style. So then he had to get completely new artwork for all of them. And it's like these little things that you don't think about when you self-publish, or unless you're like in the
Yeah.
midst of self-publishing, or like if you're in the industry, as it were. And it's a
Hmm.
really cool learning experience just to kind of see how it all goes. Like one of the things that I didn't realize until I was actively printing books, for example, is if you have on the spine like the book stacked like this, if the spine isn't thick enough, they're gonna go over the
Hmm.
sides.
Hmm.
And it's little things like that that I'm not an artist. I would have completely overlooked had it not burned me in the past.
Yeah.
We had this recently where my most recent book, all my books are like 90 to 100,000 words. It's just the kind of size that I like to write in. And then my
Mhm.
most recent one, which was a sequel, big fantasy novel, 500 pages, close to 200,000 words, almost double the size, you know. And my cover artist used the same template to design the covers. And then we found out too late when I was due to publish it that now the spine is the wrong size and the cover's in the wrong place. And that was an absolute nightmare. I'm so glad that I've got friends who are good at this kind of stuff because I am
Yeah.
so, so bad at it.
Oh,
I'd
I
be
could
sitting
never
on
do it.
Microsoft Paint, you know, trying to figure it out.
Um,
But it worked out. Well, that's pretty cool. I did want to ask, given the amount of interpretations of the Grim Reaper, do you have a favorite from any source of media? I think my favorite's always from Bill and Ted's Awesome Adventure.
Oh gosh, I do love Bill and Ted. But
I also got the name wrong, but you know what I mean. Bill and Ted's
yeah,
totally excellent, whatever it's called.
I will say I think Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure or Bogus Journey, one of them.
Yeah, Bogus
Um,
Journey, I think it is. Yeah.
yeah. But my favorite interpretation, and I know this might be a little controversial now because of what we
Mm.
know, is from Neil Gaiman's
Oh
Sandman.
yeah.
I have not read The Sandman, but I did watch the series when it first came out, and I loved how gentle he was depicted. And I mean, there was that scene with the infant death, which hits very close to
Oh my
home
God, I
now.
was just going to say, yeah, if you've
Yeah.
not read the comics, I don't know. I've read the comics, but I've not seen the TV
Oh
show.
yeah. My
And in the
husband read the
comics,
comics.
I also just like in the comics, I think it's different in the TV show, but in the comics, Death is the kind of goth girl that I would see out at nightclubs when I went out at
Yeah.
night in Glasgow when I was younger. and that spoke to me on a deep level. Where she's just like, like big black hair and stuff and pasty
Yeah.
skin and everything and the clothing and everything. And I thought that's a pretty good. Obviously, I'm biased and I think Terry Pratchett got it best, but
I still need to read it. It's on my list, I swear. And I might change my mind on my favorite interpretation when I do finally get there.
you got to
Um,
stay open to new things, I guess. But
Yeah.
I
yeah, I've
think
got you there. I've got you there. I
does
think
it?
that was a pretty good one. Sandman's got a pretty good death in it. I'm
I
trying to think
I
what
think
just
my
love the
favorite is now, but
gentleness.
I think in
yeah,
terms
because it should
of
be gentle, right? It should there should be something, some kind of like mercy or something about it, like a kind of
Yes.
softness.
I think since I haven't read Pratchett or Neil Gaiman, I have probably the worst favorite, and it's got to be The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? I love Grimm. He's the best. He
But
doesn't
I
really do any reaping though.
No, he does not. He's just, but again, I think it's someone that sits there and personifies it and makes and brings some humanity to it. So you don't just go into death with this really scary, kind of nervous, there's a little bit, like you guys were saying, a little bit of gentleness, a little bit of comfort, even in just like seeing a familiar face almost.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um, but it is interesting to see all the different interpretations. I will ask because you obviously have three books in this series in a trilogy. Do you see yourself writing more, or is the world shut? Is the world done?
I mean, it's something that I've toyed with.
Hmm.
There's potential for doing more. I don't think I will, though. I
Hmm.
have so many other projects that I'm really, really eager to get to. I just don't think it's in the cards. But, you never know.
That's fair.
Could I get a quick elevator pitch for some of the projects that you've got in your pocket just now?
Yeah, so right now I am working on a prequel to my book Carousel, which is one of my
Oh
most
yeah, yeah.
popular horrors. It's like kind of an origin story of how other characters ended up at this haunted carnival.
I've had
I'm
Carousel
also
on my TBR ever since you released it because I remember there was a big furore with the cover art and stuff, and you had to get new cover art made and everything. And I remember watching it all
character
go
art.
down. Character art,
Yeah,
that was the one.
character art. Yeah, I commissioned something. They gave me AI slap. It was a whole thing.
Yeah. And that
Oh,
was for like the Carousel man. I can't remember his name, sorry, but like yeah, the
Carnival
creepy
man,
guy.
close.
That's the one.
getting AI slop when you commission something.
Yeah, and I specifically said no AI too. I'm still very bitter about it.
Yeah, I
Valid.
would be
We
too.
we get it. We get it pretty consistently where like on the submissions page it says no AI. On like the ads that are running it says no AI. Then you get people emailing you being like, "But AI covers are fine, right?" It's like, no.
Nope. Nope. I'm pretty firm in my stance on that.
Likewise, some would say militant. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
so you've
I-
got a prequel for Carousel, Carnival,
Yep.
Carousel.
I am also working on a new romantasy, which is another genre I didn't think I'd write, but I did an Anastasia retelling that's been very popular and I enjoyed a lot. This one is loosely based on I believe it's Scottish folklore of Tamlin.
What's the name of it? Tam Lin.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that I don't know that because I'm quite brushed up on my Scottish folklore. What's the story of Tam Lin?
Oh gosh, you're gonna ask me to review that. Let me tell you this because they can explain it so much better than me. There is a
I'm
YouTube
googling it as you
channel.
speak. Sorry, go for it.
Yeah, no, there's a YouTube channel called Overly Sarcastic Productions,
Oh,
and
I know
they
them. Yeah.
do, yeah, they do like myths summarized. And they did one on Tamlin, and my husband and I watched it one night because we just watch everything from them, and it just like something clicked in my head, and I started getting all these ideas. And it's very loose interpretation, but there is, a mysterious man and kind of a naive woman, and stuff happens.
Oh yeah, it's from the borders. And there's a lot of like the Scottish borders have a long history of weird stories. Like the guy that wrote Peter Pan
Uh-huh.
uh, is from a place called Dumfries, which is down on the borders. So I didn't know anything about Tamlin. I just looked it up there, and yeah, it's a weird fairy story,
Yep.
elfin knights and stuff like that, and shapeshifters and things.
Yep, something going on in the woods, all that good stuff. So I
Want
just
to
kind
tell
of
you,
took
there's
those
always something going in the
concepts
woods up
and
here. Like,
yeah.
there's lots of
What
weird stuff goes on in the woods.
one of the questions I want to ask, since you have so much range, you have a wide variety of stories out there, and this is something that we've been discussing a lot with authors as of late. Do you find that your audience is the same? Like the people who liked Reaper's Quota are also the ones that liked the rest of your stories, or do you find that each kind of series has its own audience?
Say, I do notice some reviewers who are
Mhm.
kind enough to leave reviews will say, like I read this story and then I had to try this one, which is completely different genre. My friends read all my books because they're my friends, of course, and horror is not a lot of their favorite genres, but they have told me you actually kind of made me like horror now.
Nice.
Um, so I know that there are some people who read everything I write, but I'm also not offended if some people are like, well, I only like romance, so I'm gonna read, your romantasy, and I have a little cozy coffee shop romance too. Or, I only like horror, so I'm only gonna read the horror stuff. That's totally fair.
Well, that's fair. I think because we all marketing's the bane of everyone's existence,
Right.
I'm curious to see if you market them differently to different groups of people or if you just
I just talk
throw
about
it
my
out.
stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
respect it.
Yeah. I have one friend who is also an author. She's very talented. She writes a couple different genres, just mostly for fun, a lot of like short stories and things. But every different genre she writes under a different pen name.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
I considered doing that too, but I'm like, then I'd have to create other accounts and I'd have to do like
Hmm.
specific things for each pen name. And I, even before I like had a baby, do not have the bandwidth to deal with all of that. So y'all get
Yeah.
everything under Sarah McKnight and you pick what you like.
I think it's really cool to try different genres anyway. Like I think well I've
Yeah.
went sci-fi horror and fantasy horror and my next one's just horror. But there's genres that I just wouldn't touch because they're not for me. I don't enjoy reading them, so I wouldn't really know. I wouldn't want to in the first place, but I wouldn't know how to either. Is there any genres like that for you that you'll never go there?
I feel like, I mean, I like reading mysteries, but I have a hard time with them because you really have to know how the ending would work.
You need to write a mystery.
Right. I'm trying to think. I'm not a big fan of like Western epic fantasy. I cannot do epic fantasy.
Right, yeah.
Um, yeah, like really hardcore sci-fi, like sorry, I never got into Star Wars or anything like that. Those are ones that I would have a very difficult time with.
Yeah, I feel you.
So,
Likewise, I think I would have a really hard time writing a cozy coffee shop romance without some kind of cosmic horror getting
Right.
involved. Or
That would be a fun blend, though.
it would be cool. It'd be cool if I
that's the
could. Maybe
beauty
I'll
of
try.
indie. That's the beauty of
Yeah,
indie. You can mix and match two
But
of the most outrageous things.
exactly.
we should
Um,
just start picking genres out of a hat at this point and trying
we
them.
honestly should like for the writing competitions, be like these are the two genres, make a story about something
Oh,
completely out of left field.
Ryan,
Oh,
Um,
I
write
would
that down.
love
That's a
to do
great
that.
idea. Yeah,
So
that's a great idea.
I'm cutting y'all off here because we got about 70 seconds left
Oh, yes.
before I
Absolutely.
get cut off by Zoom. So for people who liked the Reaper's Quota and Chasing the Reaper, you have Secrets of the Reaper, which is the third and final story in the trilogy. If people like your writing style, want to read more, follow up with what you're doing, where's the best way to get a hold of you?
Twitter for sure. I'm most
Okay,
active there.
perfect.
So it's McKnight_writes.
Perfect. And we will put that in the what's it description below. I feel like such an influencer when I say that. Like
I
and
know.
subscribe. But if you've managed to make it 40 minutes into the interview and you forgot, it was The Reaper's Quota and Chasing the Reaper by Sarah McKnight. Thank you so much again. And
Thank
we
you.
really look forward to everything else you got coming out.
It'll be slow going, but it's coming.
That's all that matters.
Yep.
Take care, guys. Thanks again.
Yeah,
Thank
bye, Sarah. Bye,
you.
little guy.
Bye. Thanks, guys.